So today we have some algorithm updates from LinkedIn coming directly from Daniel Roth, who is the editor-in-chief of LinkedIn. And the article is in Entrepreneur magazine, written by Jason Pfeiffer. I think that is the correct name. Yeah, Jason Pfeiffer, who is the editor of Entrepreneur magazine. So why am I excited about these? Our business creates content for our clients that is based on their areas of expertise, and this is exactly what LinkedIn are looking for. So the algorithm changes are based on content will be given more weight if it is based on knowledge and advice. So LinkedIn have done a lot of soul searching. If you have been a member of LinkedIn for a long time, you will have noticed that the population of LinkedIn exploded during the pandemic, and a lot of new users have come to the platform. And with that, the content started to change a little bit, and LinkedIn have been listening. So apparently they've been getting lots of complaints about the content they've been seeing on their LinkedIn newsfeed being a bit too Facebooky. And I know a lot of people will, have a lot to say about this, but this is good for me and my business, and I think it's good for you. So what does content that is focused on knowledge and advice look like? So there are 4 key areas that they talk about in this Entrepreneurs Magazine's article, which I will link to down below. Number 1, write for a distinct audience. We're on LinkedIn to build our businesses, right? Or you're on LinkedIn to find a career and job, of course, and that's not really who I'm talking to here. So I work with companies who are building their business on LinkedIn. So it could be interesting for people who are career job seekers, where they go with this angle. But to stick to going through the 4 key areas, number 1 is write for a distinct audience. So for example, if your audience are professional services clients, then maybe you write content for that audience. For example, I may go paddleboarding this weekend in our holiday to Donegal, but do people follow me on LinkedIn to learn about paddleboarding? No. So would I be posting about paddleboarding on LinkedIn this weekend? I don't think so, but watch this space. So number 1 is writing for a distinct audience. Number 2 is stick to your core subject area. When you are building an audience on LinkedIn for yourself or for your business of potential customers and clients, talk about your core subject area. So we have clients who work in the field of financial services. And so our content that we create for them is all around what they do in financial services. Makes sense. That's why people would follow them on LinkedIn. So stick to your core subject area. Now, with my own personal profile, I talk about how to use LinkedIn for business, but I also do talk occasionally about small businesses, because I am a small business champion within the UK. So I think what LinkedIn are saying is if I post something about small businesses in the UK, I will not be penalised for that because it's something I've talked about in the past, and it's also in my profile that I am a small business champion. So if I went off on a ramble talking about giving mortgage advice or, heaven forbid, cryptocurrency, LinkedIn would be going, no, that's not what you talk about, Louise. That's not what your profile says. So we're not going to show that to much of your network. So you stick to your core subject. Number 3, this is really interesting, how many meaningful comments are you getting on your content? What is a meaningful comment? So one of the things I've always taught in my workshops is when you are posting on LinkedIn, you are trying to start a conversation with people. So if we are having a conversation, and I'm telling you something, and then maybe I ask you a question and you say, okay, and move on, it's not really a meaningful comment, is it? So you'll see a lot of people who are in something called engagement pods on LinkedIn, but you won't be aware of this if you're not working in this area. This is where people have banded together to comment on each other's posts, and it's quite easy to spot once you understand what it is, because most of the comments are things like, well done, well done, well done, or great tip, great advice. But the same people are commenting on each other's posts every time they post. So it's really obvious once you see this in action, it becomes really obvious. And they're doing it because they want to get more comments on their content and go viral. And LinkedIn are saying, no, we don't want to do that anymore, which is great. I mean, I don't think they ever wanted to do it, but now they're cutting down on it. So how do you have a meaningful comments on your post? Number one, when someone comments on your post, respond to them, because remember, it's a conversation you're having. So it'll be interesting to see how this gets managed by the LinkedIn algorithm. Watch this space. The fourth one is that your post has perspective. So you will see people who post something about paddleboarding in Donegal, or having a glass of wine on a Friday at the end of a busy week. And I think what they're saying here is, if you're doing that, turn it into a story with perspective for your audience. So maybe the paddleboarding thing is, I'm not going to post about paddleboarding now, and I don't even have a paddleboard. It is, how is that relatable to my network? How can I turn that into an example of how you would be using LinkedIn for business? I have no idea. Answers on the postcard below. Thank you. But yes, posting. So if you see a funny sign outside a coffee shop, how does that relate to you and what is you want to be known for? So giving perspective on your posts. Shall it make a difference to the LinkedIn newsfeed? Let's see. I know that I have been getting prompts from LinkedIn saying, is this content useful to you? And I always click those buttons because I want to see content that's interesting to me. So knowledge and advice, meaningful conversations, stick to your core subjects, write for your distinct audience, and have some perspective on your posts. Good luck, guys.